Right. You want to record? Aloha, welcome. You have found yourself at the product overview for LifeVantage. Perhaps you saw an opportunity presentation or you talked to a distributor of our products and it was all new information and you'd like to sort of understand it a little better. A lot of times my job is to squeeze, decades of science into a 4 or 5 minute quick snapshot. And in this Zoom, we just take our time to kind of explain it in a little more detail, which helps. So my name is Jennifer Murray. I live out on the beautiful island of Kauai. And I used to own a restaurant here in town, a vegan restaurant, so a health food restaurant in the middle of the ocean. And I wrote a few cookbooks as well. So at the end of 2008, when the economy was not doing so good, we shut our restaurant down. I transitioned into a career writing books, and that was in some ways a lot less stressful, but I carried with me a lot of residual pain, aches and pains from a lot of years of lifting way too many heavy things in a day. I had a lot of back pain that I was suffering from, and I was on the verge of signing another cookbook contract, and it wasn't really a great time to be signing more contracts actually at the time anyway, but I was considering it when my girlfriend kind of kept coming around with these products and this very unique business opportunity. And I wasn't interested. I didn't have any faith whatsoever that these kind of products would help me with my pain. I thought I was an incredibly healthy person. I thought all you have to do in life is just sort of eat right and exercise and get sun and manage the stress in your life, and that was the best you could do. And I was pretty committed to finding my way out of pain naturally, although I was being kind of advised to go toward laser surgery and things like that. It was just blowing my mind. I was like, why? I was 38 years old. I was waking up feeling like I was getting out of bed like an 80-year-old. It was pretty crazy. And I did, in order to be a good friend, kind of attend a couple of home presentations about these products. And I kind of thought everybody was crazy because, one woman was saying she didn't have to take her antidepressants anymore. Another woman was saying like her skin condition had healed. Another one was saying, her husband didn't have to have nasal surgery. The whole thing just wasn't, I was like, that's called a placebo. Y'all are crazy. I'm going to move on. And after a couple of months of perseverance on the part of my friend, I decided, okay, I'm just going to try this product so that I can tell you how much it didn't work and move on with my life. And after just a few weeks, I was lucky that it didn't take very long. I didn't have any pain in my body. I was waking up and rolling out of bed like a 15-year-old, and I was looking for that pain everywhere. Like I really thought, I did not want to have to pursue this any further. I could not find that pain. So for me, I became very inquisitive about why were people having such different results with one very simple kind of innocuous seeming herbal formula. And that's sort of how my journey started, of understanding more about what we all have in common and what we share. And so I am going to show some slides here, and we will see if we can get to the bottom of it a little bit. Okay. You seeing a slide, Cassie? Okay, great. So this statement here I love because it feels to me that this really is what we are doing with all of the products in LifeVantage. I find that the theme with all of our products seems to be brain health, heart health, gut health, and cellular health. And this is something that should really be important to all of us. We don't all choose to look at it on the daily, but a couple months ago, our company did a brain health month, and by the end of that month, I was just fascinated that we don't all kind of focus a little bit more on what our brain needs to stay happy and healthy, and making sure that we're preserving that, because hello, I think we all, want our brains to be really nice and intact for the rest of our lives, right? So, with these products, it's pretty unique and pretty special that the point of them is, it really isn't to heal or treat or prevent anything. I really don't believe that the products healed my back pain. I believe that they provided so much wellness within my cells and that they were functioning properly, and the health just sort of pushed out the problem. Maybe our bodies are designed to heal themselves when they're not under sort of like constant stress. So eliminating stressors and adding wellness is sort of what we're up to. And what I learned, and did the slide change? Just making sure, great. So what I came to learn was that a lot of what our health depends upon is our genetic expression. And there was a time in the past when scientists thought of DNA and thought of genetics as sort of like a sentence, sort of like, this is how your life is going to turn out. And in the last 30 or 40 years, it's come to light that genes and DNA are a blueprint. Our DNA is basically a library of blueprints, and blueprints don't do anything, right? You need workers to carry out blueprints. And the same is true for our genes. They don't actually do anything. So what is controlling what is being expressed is actually our epigenetic environment. So this launched a whole field of science called epigenetics, where they can see that 97% of what is expressed from our genes is controllable by essentially the environment that the genes are living in. And this is where it comes into play of, why is it that diet and lifestyle and stuff like that maybe don't always add up to be enough for our, optimal health at 38 years old and rolling out of bed like an 80-year-old, right? So what I found out that we all have in common is this funky little thing called oxidative stress. So oxidative stress, much as you can see, we've all cut open an apple and watched it turn brown, right? So that's oxidation. Oxygen, it can be a great thing, and it can be a really damaging thing as well. And inside of our cells, there's a certain amount of oxidative stress that we need, and then we need our cells to basically be cleaning out the rest of the oxidative particles, which they are thankfully designed to do. And so the way that we see this sort of cleaning up happening is we use cell signaling pathways. So this is where the science gets a little heady and people start to feel like, can you explain that to me a little bit better? And I like to think, I've sat through a lot of science talks about this, and I'm not a scientist myself, right? More of an artist, more of a chef and a creator. But what I see in a lot of these diagrams and pictures is that cells are a lot like, have an intricate system of highways. I call cell signaling pathways, they're like highways, right? And we've all driven up and down a ton of highways in our lives, and we've all gotten stuck in plenty of traffic jams, right? Like, this is a natural occurrence that's happening in our cells from about age 20 on. This damage of oxidative stress is piling up, and these highways that carry lots of valuable nutrients and information and codes, now they're jammed, and so they can't carry out their functions. And what we're doing with these herbal formulas is we're getting into the cell and we're turning on a lot of green lights to get these highways flowing again. So we call ourselves biohackers because we look at it as we are literally tuning in to our biology to optimize its performance, essentially to get it back to its original design, to get it to our cells to function the way that they were designed to function. And we do that with nutrients. So nutrigenomics is this huge uncomfortable word when you first hear it. And it essentially breaks down to mean we are using nutrients from plants and plant extracts to have an effect, a positive effect on our genetic expression. So huge topic that, you know, our company is pretty famous at this point for kind of bringing to the table. And so we're all using nutrients all day long, right? There's nutrients in all of the food that we're eating. But what they found in the labs in the 90s was they were not really able to use chemicals. They were having a hard time coming up with a pharmaceutical that would have this kind of result of opening up these highways and gaining access to all the right nutrients so that we can keep eliminating all this cellular stress and oxidative stress. And we're not able to do that with pharmaceuticals. And so wisely, they turned to plants. And when they started playing around with some very common, very, you know, well-known, been used for thousands of years safely and effectively, herbs, they started to see different combinations were a lot stronger and more powerful at doing this. And they were able to narrow it down, this one product, to about exactly five herbs that in combination had an effect that was 1,800% stronger than any of the herbs on their own. We call that synergy. Synergy is like when the end result is greater than the sum of its parts. Like if you added them all up, you would expect them to equal one number, but for some reason it's 1,800% larger of a number. So by taking these particular nutrients, which, let's face it, milk thistle, turmeric, ashwagandha, we're not likely to find in our average salad, but I do like to think of these pills as essentially unlikely salads, conveniently, you know, pressed into pills for us. So one thing that we are familiar with in our culture for dealing with oxidative stress is antioxidants, right? So we consume antioxidants to overcome, hopefully, oxidative stress. And actually, the gentleman who was the original formulator of our flagship product, he is one of the scientists from the 60s who were the first in the lab to even discover oxidative stress, to discover antioxidants. And I have seen him in interviews saying, you know, for literally 40 years, we did not know what to tell people they could do about this problem of oxidative stress, except take some antioxidants or eat some antioxidants. But it literally is like throwing those blueberries at a forest fire. You know, these blueberries do contain a lot of antioxidants, and some other foods contain perhaps even more. But the human body is creating 300 sextillion free radicals every day. So that's a 3 with 23 zeros after it. That's an astronomical figure, and there is pretty much no chance that we can consume even half that many antioxidants in a day. So this is the next level. You know, this is sort of like taking antioxidants and going quantum, because, well, we'll see here in a minute. So we like to focus on activation. Like I said, we're activating these cellular highways rather than supplementing, you know, what we think of as a cure for the problem. And we do that with these are the 3 products that are basically the 3 main highways that we are dealing with opening up. The first one is the NRF2 highway. NRF2 is primarily responsible for carrying these antioxidant enzymes that you see listed here with big uncomfortable names. They travel up and down this NRF2 highway, and they carry glutathione itself. Literally has, I think, a list of 2,000 functions that it's doing for your cellular health, like every minute of your life. So making sure that you have a good supply of it and that it's getting from point A to point B is really crucial. And what we see when people take this particular incredibly gentle herbal formula is that we see an increase of glutathione by 300% in the first 90 days. So glutathione, essential for brain health, essential for heart health, and like I said, carrying out thousands of functions every day. But not only that, all of these enzymes are also antioxidant enzymes, but they're called endogenous antioxidants. Literally, they're born inside of you. You can't supplement them. You can't take a glutathione supplement and have it actually increase your cellular glutathione. It doesn't work that way. So by activating your cell's own endogenous, born antioxidants, you're actually taking care of that free radical problem by 1 million. These antioxidant enzymes can kill 1 million free radicals every second. So this is literally 1 million times per second stronger than eating blueberries. So great discovery. We kind of took the whole concept, we went quantum with it, and there's kind of no turning back. Like, there is literally no comparison taking antioxidants versus making antioxidants. Let's see here. I'm using someone else's slideshow, so bear with me. Right, so this is essentially just going over that, when you remove all of the cellular waste, you're going to have, I think, as you can imagine, a lot of relief. The relief that this kind of, thing has on your cells is, first your cells start functioning more optimally, then the whole system that they belong to starts functioning more optimally, like the central nervous system, the immune system, your endocrine system. These systems start to fill with health and push out the problems until basically your whole organism is thriving and working together again like it did when you were a kid. Kamaile wisely has the laundry list of effects that, not dealing with oxidative stress can have on us over time. And if you were to peruse the website of the National Institute of Health, you would basically find, according to the doctors that I've been talking to, that there is not a disease on there that does not relate back to oxidative stress as one of its causes, or low glutathione as one of its causes or aggravators. So reducing oxidative stress, like the effects literally cannot be understated or minimized. We do have quite the backing by the scientific community with our products. We are not a company that was started by businessmen with a business plan. We were started by scientists who literally spent their entire careers trying to develop something that would help the human body with some of these ill effects of aging. You can look at all of these products as anti-aging because biochemically, this is what we see declining as we get older. So the scientists are renowned in their field and have gotten a lot of attention over time from the scientific community. These are just some of the medical research institutions and universities that have studied our patented product and produced peer-reviewed studies published by the National Institute of Health using our products, not the least of which, of course, would be the American Heart Association. This is the first herbal supplement ever endorsed by the American Heart Association. LSU, Louisiana State University, one of their specialties is skin cancer. They have studied extensively Protandim and had such amazing results with their studies that actually Harvard took notice and were basically in disbelief and wanted to duplicate the study to see if they got the same results, and they did. So big stuff. This is one of the reasons why it gets a little hard to, explain to the average person. Most of us are just not scientists and not, geared toward really understanding those intricacies, but the proof is there for, the health clinicians amongst us that can really understand those studies. The proof is there. So in 2015, Washington State University took a look at all of the things that were going on at the time with NRF2 and put out a statement that essentially said NRF2 is potentially the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And I didn't know scientists enough before this, but I've gotten to know scientists in the last 7 years, and they rarely speak like this. So this is really huge for the scientific community to really acknowledge that a whole new field has opened up and is probably going to completely change the game and change the story of how we're looking at health, how we're looking at, rather than treating symptoms and treating diseases, how can we essentially pump more health into the organism? So I'll move on to our second highway, which is called NRF1. NRF1 deals with mitochondrial health, and mitochondrial dysfunction is also indicated in tons of age-related diseases. What they are seeing is that by age 70, we are losing 50% of our mitochondrial function. So this is one of the reasons why we see so many age-related, diseases increase after age 70. So if I was to go back in time to 10th grade, I think that was about the last time I heard of mitochondria before NRF1, I remember it being called the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, leave it at that. Well, when you're 15, it doesn't mean a lot, but when you're 40, where did all that energy go? Where are those kids getting it from, right? And mitochondria, 95% of our energy that we are living on is produced in our mitochondria. So keeping that functioning is essentially the key to what 80% of Americans have as their number one health goal. 80% of Americans, despite how much heart disease and cancer and diabetes, et cetera, there is out there, the number one health goal is they just want enough energy to get through the day and feel good about life and joining life when you wake up and all of that. And so what mitochondria is doing is essentially creating a healthier energy cycle so that you're sleeping at night. You're not up with your mind racing in the middle of the night. You're sleeping at night, you're waking up refreshed, and you have energy at the appropriate time of the day. So just a little thing called energy, kind of huge. And again, just using some pretty common plant ingredients, they found a nice synergy where we were able to see an improvement in the biogenesis or something like that of our mitochondria. Yes, mitochondrial biogenesis. Yes, I believe I got it right. So NAD is the third highway that we're going to talk about. And NAD could take over and lead the show, essentially. We all saw that quote from Washington State University about NRF2. Harvard University feels that NAD is, that's where they're throwing all their weight behind, researching NAD. NAD is a super precious molecule in our bodies, and it feeds something called sirtuins. So all of our cells have these 7 sirtuins, and sirtuins, yes, they aid our brain function and our heart health. But they have this very, very special and unique capacity to read our genetic codes that are passing through the highway to expression. And what they do is they can assess when a gene is essentially going to be harmful to the organism that it's living in, and they can silence that gene. And then they can read that gene and see, is this a survival gene? Is this gene kicking in to essentially save this organism's life and help it provide, better function? And they can pass it through to expression. And what they see when they've been studying it is that we are losing 60% of our supply of NAD by age 50. So these, with the mitochondrial dysfunction and this, you can see better on a biochemical level what we think of as aging and all of these things that, go along with aging that we feel like we can't avoid or are just part of life. And so a lot of us tend to just sort of kind of just hope for the best. Our personal healthcare system is hope for the best and don't kind of focus on, these scary words of things that, we might come down with. But I love this quote by Dr. Brett Brimhall about, we're no longer supplementing our deficiencies or chasing our tails. Like we have something in our hands that we can use to give our body what it wants in a formula that is essentially incredibly unlikely that we would find on our plate every day, to take care of us, and giving us that access that I think is incredibly crucial to what we're all going through these last few months, let's say, when people suddenly realize maybe optimizing health is the best way to go. Maybe there's nothing to be afraid of if we know that we're in optimal, condition. And I really just love that Kamile had this slide in there at the end of the day. Isn't this what we all want? Just love and health. I really think that even in the chaos of the world right now, I always just think, don't 98% of us just want to live healthy and happy with our families and not have to, worry about things? Things get pretty complicated, but I do agree with her that it seems like that's what we mostly want. So we won't go over all of this in detail, but this is essentially the rest of the product offering. Those 3 highways that I've been talking about are the backbone of what we do here. It provides cellular health and cellular well-being to promote our bodies to essentially act like children. In blood tests, we see that people who take these products, you can't tell the difference between the 80-year-old and the 20-year-old. Like if you're just in the lab looking at their blood, you can no longer tell the difference between an 80-year-old and a 20-year-old. So if you want the blood of a 20-year-old, think about trying these products. And like I said, we have gut health products, a prebiotic, a probiotic. There's a huge connection between our gut and our brain health. The gut and the brain are literally every second constantly communicating. The stress that we feel is expressed in our gut. Everything is constantly being communicated. And so, also keeping our gut as healthy as possible makes it so that when we take these products, they're actually being assimilated, in the best possible way. So more bang for your buck, essentially. Axio is a beverage. So those are little drink sticks you can mix with water, and they provide mental focus, mental clarity, some mood elevation, things like that you might expect from coffee without the jitters, without the crash, without the addictive tendencies. And what the neurologists who have been studying this can also see is that there is a cumulative effect, a positive cumulative effect. So if you are taking Axio every day, they see that over time it is actually doing your brain a lot of good. So good for us. We translated the NRF2 into skincare products. Like I said, Louisiana State University did do a lot of testing of our internal Protandim products and made a request to the company, would you be willing to create topical products so that our clients can go from the outside in and the inside out. And they actually were able to translate that NRF2 into topical products that, because we're using extracts and not whole ingredients like oils and things, because they're extracts, because they're such small particles, they're able to sink deeper into your skin when they're actually getting to the fourth layer of the skin, which is called the dermis, which is where all the new skin cells are being created. And so now you've got that NRF2 detoxifying antioxidant behavior happening at the very layer of your skin where the new skin cells are being created. So not bad. I live in Hawaii, constantly exposed to the sun. So it's really nice to have a product that is essentially reducing oxidative stress on the surface of my skin. I am 45 years old. I do commonly get mistaken for someone at least a few years younger. And so that is a nice effect, but it's really nice for me to know that the sun damage I'm undoubtedly accruing is also, I'm able to unwind that. We have hair care products because people care about their hair and you have a microbiome on your scalp as well. So let's see. For your convenience, the Tri-Synergizer, the three highways I've been discussing do come in these wonderful packets, which I have to say I converted to the packets, and it does make life a lot easier to just rip one open, take them, and be on your way. These are 3 of the business packs that we sell in the company. And one of the nice things about these that I think she has in here for is you get a little bit of a discount. So if you want to try more than just the Pro Tandem, when you join LifeVantage as a distributor, you pay the same as customers. That's one thing I really like about this company, is that it's not complicated. You know, I just say this because I have over the years joined a few other network marketing companies just because I wanted the products and I wanted the distributor price. And so you kind of get, I feel like, pulled into this lengthy and complex, like, you know, system. And that's really not true with our company. Distributors and customers pay the same. And the main benefit of buying one of these packs, even for a customer, is that they're basically on sale. It's kind of the only time you can buy them at a reduced price. And with that platinum pack, it's like your whole family can try everything and you're getting a really good price. So here we are. Thank you for listening. I'm sure you're just dying of curiosity to get this stuff into your body and start biohacking and feeling better. And you are absolutely welcome to get back to the person who's sharing this information with you, and we can get products coming to you. If you are listening to this and you're thinking, wow, my mom really needs this, my sister, my cousin, my next door neighbor, we just absolutely love referrals. That is totally what we are doing here in this business, is just spreading the word person to person. And we'd be grateful for your referrals. And if you really get what I said and you're just dying to join us in our entrepreneurial endeavor, we are here for that as well. Thank you for coming, and have a lovely day. Aloha.